Okay, Zulfikar and Gordon. This is probably the easiest way again for me to go through this. This is all the final number allocations, kind of internal structure that needed to be done, not only so we have our internal documents and agreements, participation locked up on the foundation, but also the token side and how the token stuff moves forward. I needed the structure and allocations to build the tokenomics, the final graphs, things like that. Gordon, I'm going to run through this with, kind of where the numbers are that I think they should be based on some of the shares and the revenues across the agencies. I went through Zulfikar with this. He said, yes, this is fine, but I want to make sure you are clear as well. Everything with him's been gone through and put together. And so basically when you look at it, kind of fascinating, there's six flows of money, as I call it. I don't know if that's the right word, process, or terminology, but in the reality, there's basically six types of money that come through here. I'm going to go through all six in detail. Again, the structure that I think makes the most sense is a 210-90. I understand, Gordon, you want a 2 and 20, but I'm going to show you why I think this makes a lot more sense publicly facing and things like that. And so a 210-90 is 2% operation, 10% to directors, 90% return to the fund. And I'm going to go through each one of these. The top one's really simple. Gordon, I know you understand this. Zulfikar does as well. If the fund's successful, if you raise 50, 100, 2, 3, 4, $500 million, there's a 2% operating fee that just enables you to collect capital and pay it out to management. And then, of course, obviously the more capital you raise, that 2% operations fee just goes up. And if directors are getting paid a certain amount, you've got more money in operating capital, more management, more bonus. Like the more successful the fund is, that operations fee goes up, but your fixed capital and overhead doesn't go up as much. But Gordon, you understand that. That's just the operations side on the cap for the fund. If 10% comes back to internal, right, not 20%, but 10, then we're distributing 90% out. So if there's a 10% return, this was the contribution stuff that we talked about with Zulfikar, 30 to you, 30 to him, 20 to me. This is just on the internal 10%. This is kind of the management board stuff. Still leaves 20% for bonuses, management. Again, you and Zulfikar control the board. So where these additional allocations go and what happens with it becomes a board decision up here. But again, there's bonuses, management, marketing. Who knows? This is just the internal allocation. Now the 900,000, right? If there's $1 million that comes back, 10% goes to the foundation internally. Now there's 900,000 to distribute, and that's 100%. So you're going to distribute 900,000, but it's 100% of the 900. Hopefully makes sense. So the agreement needs to be 30% goes to PeaceCoin Token Foundation for the buyback. So that's, out of that's $300,000 goes to buy back the token and support the whole program. 50% stays in as reallocation. That means the funds are reinvested back into other projects. 20% is remaining. We're at 80. If PII, this, Gordon, is what I was talking about double dipping. I didn't mean in a bad way, but if PII, Peace Investment Initiative, or Peace Innovation, is down here and gets 10% of all, allocated funds in return, still allows the foundation to say they're distributing 90%, but then 10% is coming out down here. University of Peace might get 5%. There's still 5% remaining. And again, this sort of allocation percentage is just an internal board decision. The 30 and 50, I think, needs to stay the same. But how that remaining 20% is allocated, again, it's an internal decision that says here's where it goes. Donor funds into the foundation, either directly through the donors and directors as the 3 or 4 or 5 of us and the promoters. Potentially we can do a 10% of fundraise. So Gordon, if you bring in a big donor, it's a 10% finder's fee as a director, promoter, bringing in that capital. You're performing the function as a recruiter. This is just internal. Could be less, shouldn't be more, but it could be, 3, 5, 10. Zolfiger was fine with 10, but if you guys want to discuss and go lower, fine with that. And then the external promoters, for example, Zolfiger's got somebody named Ingrid. The goal with the Ingrid would be 5%. So an external promoter that we could have that actually sends us people for capital. 5% of money raised, or they could take 3% capital, 2% PeaceCoin token. Again, that was Zolfiger's idea here, but again, we have to kind of make this decision. It's not critical, but we will have to know and have these answers, especially this promoter program. We want the Ingrids of the world out there incentivized to go start getting capital and donors and recruiting on behalf of PeaceCoin Foundation. So they have to be compensated. And if it's 5% of money's in and an Ingrid can raise $50 or $100 million, then her cap is 5% or 3% plus tokens. And again, we kind of need to know that. I need to know it as well for conversations I may have, not only with Tony, but Super Bowl and some of the stuff coming up in LA. I'm going to be with huge people. And if I can have this conversation with some good answers, I want to have them. So we just kind of need to decide on these numbers in case I have a conversation with somebody. That's internal. Now the PeaceCoin token, again, this is the allocation internally, 12, 12, and 10. You and Gordon, so again, Gordon and Zolfiger, you guys have 12% of the total capitalization of all the tokens. This is where the liquidity will happen quicker. In that 210-90, those returns from the investments are going to be a little longer and slower. I mean, Zolfiger may get a huge deal with Naveen and a pre-IPO, but that's a little different. This token appreciation could happen quicker, but I want to make a point for the advisors. If we go 1 million per advisor, not percentages, we could add 5, 10, 15, 20 advisors on here pretty easy. Have to do a small allocation potentially to Centurion, STG Impact. And again, whether this is double dipping or triple dipping, if you call PII a strategic partner, then you may come up with a percentage, or you may just come up with a number, right? You may give PII 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 million tokens out of the allocation round and be able to go from there. The thing that needs to be put in place here and understood is, if I go back here to so much work on all this stuff, so much work. Hang on. Money flow, foundation, token, foundation. Where is tokenomics? Gordon, you've had this for a while. I'm just going to show it to you again. The reason I needed to get the numbers set is I need this pie chart done so they can do the pie chart allocation into the white paper. So the top line numbers needed to be done, but what doesn't have to be done is the individuals. So for example, if we go down here, if we add Kojo Anand and John Sutton at 1 million tokens, that's 0.05. That's 1/2 of 1%. We're not talking percentages, or no, that's 0.05. That's token allocation at 0.05. I didn't even discount down, but it's 0.01%. So we could have quite a few. Now, what you need to realize is up here, the advisor, the partners, the strategic, the legal, token, and community, that is all controlled basically by you and Zolfiger. So if we don't allocate out, say there's 4, 5, 6%, if you only allocate 3%, 7% goes back into the community reserve. This is basically treasury. So I want you guys to realize the reason we kind of want to manage this as well, not only for me, but for you and Zolfiger and Gordon. This allocation, and you notice over here it changes. Watch to the right on the spreadsheet. Right? Those percentages change in the graph. That's why I need to get them locked down. But if we don't allocate to strategic, for instance, Andy, the guy that did the logos, I want to allocate 25,000 tokens to him at 0.05, higher than what we're doing the pre-sale, because he did all the work up front in advance, not getting paid. But basically, we just carry him as a strategic advisor, and it's, as you can see, percentage-wise, it's small and pretty insignificant. So that's the kind of thing, strategic, legal, and then here's all the potential advisors that I had as ideas. And again, if we're going to offer them 1 million tokens and we agree on that, which I think is the perfect number, it's not a percentage, I can then possibly reach out to Wozniak, Maria, Mohammed, Philippe. These four I think are good for sure, along with Kojo and John Sutton. But some of these others down here may or may not make sense. Yuval Rabin could make sense. He's the son of Yitzhak Rabin, the Israeli leader. Mark Victor Hansen could be cool. Chicken Soup for the Soul, 500 million books he and Jack Canfield have sold. So again, we can have these discussions about some of these people, but if I at least know we're doing 1 million per Peace Advisor, there's people out there we can start talking to. All right, so that's kind of the goal of this, was to break down all of the allocations so we kind of knew what was going on. Then we can do internal agreements, have all of this papered up, and then we're legal. We've got the 501c3, we've got our internal documents, and we just move to an operating agreement, and that stuff's all done. All right, hopefully this helps to get through kind of where we were on the numbers and what was being worked on.